Okay, so hold on just a second. I have to say something first before we start, before you get into it. Um, so a lot of people, I promise this is a makeup tutorial, but I know a lot of people try to save money by doing their own makeup, or they can't believe the outrageous prices that some makeup artists charge, but that is based on their experience. If you are someone who is not very skilled, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't wear a lot of makeup, I really don't think it's going to save you any money, much less time, by trying to do your own, by trying to go to the store and match your foundation shade and practice the look, practice the liner, practice the lashes, get all the products that are going to work for your skin type and be long lasting on you and that you actually like. That comes over months of trial and error. And if you don't have months to do this, do not attempt this. I would just recommend hiring somebody. It's going to save you time and I think it's going to be worth it and give you peace of mind. So if you're thinking about it, listen to these words. And if you have a friend who's thinking about doing her own makeup or thinking about doing their own makeup, show them this video. Okay, let's get to the tutorial. Thanks. Hello everyone, so today's video is going to be a voiceover just because I want it to be nice and detailed for you. I've included some higher quality photos so you can see what this look really looks like through the camera lens in photos as opposed to a video because they are different. And so I've also included one with flash, as you will see in a moment. I am pale, but there's actually no flashback. I really love this look, and I hope that you like it as well. Let me know if you recreate it, and let's get started. So number one, I have groomed. You definitely want to exfoliate. You want to pluck any eyebrow hairs, stray hairs. I have also shaved my mustache. Even though I don't really talk about that, I do shave the little hairs there with a regular razor. Number two, moisturize. My skin is all prepped and hydrated, and also wear something that you don't mind if it gets dirty. This is the base tape. It's a hydrating primer by Tarte. I'm going to go ahead and put that on. And then I'm going to be using the Jaclyn Hill palette. It's totally okay if you don't have this. Just use something that's got some browns, shimmers, a nice kind of gradient to it. Now I have applied my e.l.f. Eye tapes just so I ensure that I have a nice clean line. Those are $2, so those are a great purchase. Then I go in with my Morphe eye primer just to make sure everything sticks and lasts all day. Now I'm taking the shade Silk Cream. It's the lightest brown, and I'm going to use that as a transition shade. Also pay attention to the sizes of the brushes that I'll be using. I'm applying that just to be able to blend all the other colors up into that color. So really just do windshield wiper motions, sweeping back and forth, not applying a lot of pressure here. Now I'm taking the shade Pukey, and you can see it's just a little darker, but not too much darker from that first initial shade. And then I'm going to kind of focus that on kind of the outer half. So a little more the outer corner, outer third of my eye, just slightly inward to the crease, but really lightly just buffing it very gently. Then here's the trick. I take that first brush that I used, the big fluffy one, and then I go back and make sure that those two are blended. And it's a matter of really just going back and forth and blending. Switching brushes, making sure everything is nice and seamless. Now I'm going to take another brown. You can see the gradient we're using here. This is the shade Mocha. It's just a nice chocolatey brown. And I am still using kind of a blending brush, but it is a bit smaller, and I'm really focusing this on just the outer corner this time. Really lightly buffing that, and it's really important to tap off your brush. Tap all the excess shadow off before you put it on your eye, because sometimes you end up loading too much on. And now I'm going to go in with the shade Central Park. It is another brown, so we have used 4 browns at this point, but the first one was very light, and now we've created a nice gradient, and that is the whole purpose of this. Going back in after this with a fluffy brush and just blending, really focusing it on the outer corner, not taking it in too far towards the inner corner, not taking it up too high, just barely any pressure on the brush. That is super important. Don't go in too firm and heavy-handed. Now, sometimes with all the blending, a certain shade can get a little lost and blended away, so feel free to go back in and add any colors that you really want to show through. Now I'm going to take the shade Queen, and we're going to move on to the lid, and we're going to create another kind of gradient on the lid with shimmers. So I'm going to put that one on kind of the outer part of the lid, do that on both eyes, and then I'm going to take a lighter shade. What's that one called? It's called Beam, and I'm going to put that one on the inner corners, and you can see that really brings the whole look together. It brings everything to life, and then you can kind of go back in and add and build and kind of blend between the two. I went back in with a little more Queen and put that on the outer corner. Now what I'm doing is making sure the shimmers are kind of blended into the matte a little bit, because there's a difference in the texture of the eyeshadow. So you don't want it to be super stark, at least not with this look. So I just wanted to show you the gradient that I've created here and how nice that looks when I turn my head. And I'm on mirror facing the wrong way. This is the Kat Von D liner, the tattoo liner in Trooper Black, and I'm going to create a thin liner. So I don't cover up all of the work that I just did with black. So I also want to mention that you don't have to use any of the expensive products that I use. I'm just using them because it's what I had in front of me, kind of. Physicians Formula makes a great eyeliner. You know, you don't have to use all these expensive products. I just know that this one is good, and I don't have any drugstore liquid liners at the moment. Also, everything that I have used in this video is going to be down in the description box below with their shade names. So, I got you there. Now we take it off to reveal a nice clean line, but also some fallout that would have gotten onto my base if I had done that first. I'm going to be using the LA Girl Pro Matte just because I know it's nice and long lasting with my Real Techniques sponge. I'm going to mix those 2 shades. Those will be down below in the description as well. And I'm going to start with a little less and then add a little more in the areas that I need it. Now this is super important. Super important. Make sure you blend down onto the jawline, over the ears. And my hair is very short, so if your hair is very short like mine or it's going to be back, make sure that you are blending. Take it down the neck even just a little bit. Even if you think your foundation matches perfectly, take it down just a little bit. And then my Makeup Revolution concealer, I know that one's in the shade C1. I love it. It's nice and creamy. It's long lasting on me. I swear by it. It's just my favorite. So now I'm going to blend all that out with my sponge. Just make sure that you're careful around all of your eyeshadow. And then I'm going to be setting that also with the sponge. Now, it is important that your sponge is damp, and I do highly recommend this one. I'm going to use my Airspun powder by Coty. You can get this at Walmart or Target, and I'm going to take the sponge, dip it in the powder, and then I use that to press the powder into the areas that I get oily, because I do get oily now. And then I'll take a regular powder brush in that same powder and set the rest of my face and dust off any of the excess that was on there from the sponge. Just setting all the foundation that I brought down. And now I'm going to be working on the lower lash line. I'm going to take the shade Pukey on a small brush and put that on the outer 2/3 of my lash line and just blend that. And then I'm going to take the shade Mocha on the same brush, just a little bit darker brown, and then I'm going to put that on the very outer corner of my lower lash line just to create a nice soft gradient so everything blends, everything looks even. Now I'm taking the shade in Light. It's the lightest highlight shade, and I'm going to highlight my inner corners with that. Really opens up the eyes, brings everything together. I'm going to take this Pixie black liner, and I'm going to line my inner water line, the lower water. And then my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. You don't have to use this one. The L'Oreal Lash Paradise is great. Definitely just recommend a waterproof mascara, especially if it is like your wedding day or something like that. I'm going to apply a couple coats of that and move on to bronzer. This is my Maybelline City one. I'm not big on contour, even for photos, just because I really don't feel like I need it, but I'm taking a nice big fluffy brush, really making sure I blend that kind of on the cheekbones, up into the temple, just so the color on my face is nice and even. A little bit on my ears as well. I'm also blending a little onto the sides of my nose, not to really contour, just to make sure it's not lost in the flash photography. Now I'm taking my Essence Satin Touch blush. I can't remember the shade name, but it is going to be down below, and I'm going a little heavier than I typically would just for the photos. It's a nice natural color. If you do feel like you've gone heavy-handed with something, take your powder brush and go over and blend. Now I'm going to use my Ofra highlighter. I love this one. It's a nice color for my skin tone, and notice that I'm really buffing it in. I'm not just putting a big stripe on my cheek and then just leaving it there. I blend it in, I buff it in on the bridge of my nose, my cupid's bow, my chin. Now I'm going to brush my brows through just in case any foundation or powder got in them. And I'm actually going to use the e.l.f. brow pomade. And I like to start at the tail of the brow when I have the most product on my brush. And then as I continue to use it and have less product on the brush, I'll move into the inner part of the brow. This is my NYX Control Freak Brow Gel. It's clear, and then we're moving on to lashes. Definitely practice, practice, practice with lashes. That's really all I can tell you. There are no secrets. There are no fast tracks. It's just practice. Now this Profusion lipstick, the dupe for that would be Wet n Wild's 902C in the shade Bare It All. If you can't get this lipstick, this is a liquid lipstick because Stuart will not kiss me if I'm wearing something that transfers. And then I just pop my lashes on. I pop them on while the glue is still just slightly tacky. You do have to wait for it to get tacky, let it dry a little bit. And then just before they dry, I push them up so they dry in a more upward curled position. You can see right there. Now I'm going to take that same face highlighter and use it underneath my brows. Fill in my moles, and then if you need to cover up any lash glue, you can go back over with your liner. Some mascara on the lower lashes. Stop. Take a step back and make sure everything is nice and even, looks good. Touch up anything you need to. I'm going to highlight my body, and that's pretty much going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.